and welcome back to my channel. My name is Michala, and today I'm going to update my reading journal with the books I read in December. This will be my last month in this reading journal, and then I will move on to using my 2026 reading journal. And I might come back in here to check off some things on my winter TBR spread, but other than that, I will be done with this reading journal. So I will probably film a flip through video after I complete December's books in here and post that for you guys to see. So let's light this candle and we'll get started. And there we go. With that lit, we can start the cover spread for December. I only read 3 books and they were all on audio. I have the covers over here, and one was a reread. They were all really good and I enjoyed them, so it was a good month. And one of the books that I listened to and read when I could, I kind of immersion read when I could, was Alchemized, and that is 1,000 pages. And another one was Outlander, which I think is like 800 pages maybe. But yeah, so I didn't read that many books, but I got a lot of pages read. So that was really fun. And I have a couple things I selected to try to see if I could get to work on my cover spread for December. This is a postcard actually, so it's a little bit thicker than something I would usually use, but this journal is about to be done and I don't think one postcard will make that big of a difference in the thickness of it. And actually, the last time I used a postcard in this reading journal was back in January. I used a postcard with artwork on it for the cover of my January spread, and that was also kind of wintry themed and had illustration of a girl, but that one was done by Hedda from Mochi Bujo, and this one is a postcard that came with an order from Maragona Suli. But yeah, I want to cut this out and use this and then layer it with some fun elements. I have these thank you stickers from Maragona Suli that are just little thank you sheets, but I actually think there's enough of them that they will work really well on this spread. And then I have some frame stickers for the titles of the books that I want to use. And I only have 3 books, but I'm going to put these 4 so I can see which ones I want to use, I think. Maybe a square one. We'll see. I'll probably use those. And then I think I will just layer a lot of fun wintry elements. Something fun I thought I could do for the book spreads for this month is I saved wrapping paper that I liked from my gifts over Christmas. And I thought maybe I could try to reuse the wrapping paper I saved from my Christmas gifts and use like a different wrapping paper for each book and kind of theme the spread around the wrapping paper design. So I will show you guys those in a little bit. And the idea might not work. I'm someone who does not plan every single thing out. I just honestly don't have time to do that, and it doesn't in the end make me feel more creative usually, so I just don't do that. There's a little tape on here I'm trying to peel off, and it peeled the postcard, but it's just a little spot, so I think it'll be fine. But anyway, so we'll have to see as I go if the wrapping paper idea works, but I thought that would be a really fun tradition for my December reading journal to yearly use wrapping papers for the spreads, and I could, I don't know, call it like my December books wrapped or something like that. So here's this postcard cut out, and we can layer different elements with it. I think I will cut a little bit closer to the tree to make it look like a little more intentional. There we go. And then I have some brown paper I might use. I think this sticker is clear actually. Yeah, so I might want to put it on the brown paper for it to show up very well. So maybe over here. And I like to leave room to stamp December. And then we could put some of these little stickers around. I also have this moon that has snowflakes on it, which I think is really pretty. And then because this washi tape is new to me, I want to use this Moonflower Magic set, I think, because it also has some wintry colors in it. Maybe even just this sticker roll that I haven't used very much that has just a bunch of round shapes that have flowers and they're like phases of the moon with moths and flowers on them. I think those could be nice to add around, so I'll take that. And then over here, I have this washi tape that I used on my winter TBR with the wide wintry scenes that I thought might work on this page, and then I could put my 3 frames like in the sky, so to speak, because this would kind of make it look like a scene over here. So let's move my TV. I might do that. Let's see. I could maybe just keep it pretty simple. Let's see what a brown paper background would look like. Okay, and then I'm going to cut the edges off with my paper cutter. Okay, I have this now. Instead of the wide scene, I might use these little ones and kind of place them near or behind the frames. So I think I do want this brown paper down, so I'm going to tape this down to start. There we go, and now we can place the frames around. And I think they would look good with these like little scenes behind them. And maybe this big one down here, because I like it just has the trees, and it's not the same art style as this postcard, but I do think they kind of go together. So yeah, let's see. Something like that. And then maybe this little set of trees to go like down here. I think I might try to put this frame a little bit under this sticker, just so some stickers are behind the frames and some are in front like this. So let's peel this one. And then I like the wintry books, of course, as well. So I could put those around. I'm trying to think of which ones I might want for the cover, like the teacup maybe over here, or this star over here, and the snowflakes and the sparkles. I want on this side for sure. I have a couple little strips of this washi tape from the Moonflower Magic set that I have over here to the side from something else that I might put behind to give more of the blue color and some more moon elements in here. I think I will go ahead and put the brown paper down. Let's just rip a little bit of this so it's not, I don't know, so much wasted paper behind her. I just think we don't need that. like that a lot. And now we can stamp December down here. There's my title stamped out, and now we can write the names of the books in the frames. And I'm going to use this Muji pen, and the first book I read was Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, however you say her name, but let's put Outlander in this one. And then I read a reread, really a listen to. All of these were on audiobook actually. I was in a big audiobook phase because I was playing some cozy games while listening or puzzling on my Christmas break. And my husband and I listened to Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which I've listened to many times, but this time we got the version that is fully voice acted, so that was really fun, and it has atmospheric noises, like background noises and things, and we really liked that. So I'm gonna put Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone here. And then I read / listened to Alchemized by Senlin Yu. There we go. And there is my cover spread. I really like how it turned out. I can't believe I'm almost done with this reading journal, but I'm also excited to move on to my 2026 reading journal since I really like how I set up the yearly spreads in that one. So I'm excited to use it and use a new journal. So now let's do the first book, which I think we can do Outlander. And let's see if I can find a wrapping paper that would work for this spread. Okay, so I have this wrapping paper, and when I say I saved them, I mean they are ripped up and have tape on them, but I thought this paper was really cute and I would like to see if I can use it. I thought this would work pretty well because I already do kind of a ripped paper look. So I think this could be a fun tradition to do. The wrapping paper probably won't be themed like similar to the book, of course, but I think the colors will go with the book cover. Okay, so I'm thinking of doing it like this, and I'll cut off the excess, of course, and then maybe using these like bell flowers. You can see the top of like a bunny's ear, and this is the bunny's body, I believe, but what if we put this like over here? That could be pretty. I like this pink flower too. That could look really good like in the corner. Just don't know. I could almost get this to line up like that. That looks kind of cool. It all lines up pretty well. Okay, maybe this is what we'll do, and I'll try to get a little bit more of the bunny's ears out of there, I think, just because they kind of look like they're floating. Okay, I think I'm liking that. I'm going to rip this a little more closely to the blue flowers. Okay, and let's start by putting this piece down and cutting off the excess, and then we can layer the other piece. Now this piece we can put like right there. There we go. I think this looks really, really fun, and it's already so full and colorful, and I think the cover of the book could go somewhere different than I usually do. Like like down here maybe and still have room for, or up here, and still have room for the star rating underneath it, maybe right there. And I don't have that much room to write about this book, but honestly, for how long this book was, I don't have that much to write about it. This book was really interesting. So the first half I really enjoyed, and then towards the end I felt like it was a bit repetitive maybe. But Outlander, if you don't know, is a very popular like historical fiction series that is also a really popular TV show, and it follows Claire Randall, who starts out in 1945 but ends up somehow time traveling to the 1700s in Scotland in the middle of a war. So it's like a time traveling romance, historical fiction. It was published in 1991, so it's been out for a while, and I have considered reading it, especially once it became a TV show, on and off for a while, but I just never did. And then I don't know what finally made me pick it up. I think, oh, I know what it was. I had the audiobook. I tried reading it or listening to it, I guess, a while back, and just never listened to much of it. I couldn't really get into it. And so I already had it on audiobook, and I was trying not to just buy new books, but use, what I already had. And so I gave it another chance, and the beginning was really entertaining, and I listened to it, like I said, on audiobook, so I could kind of bump up the speed. So I listened to it while playing Disney Dreamlight Valley. They had an update in the game, and that game's pretty like chill and laid back, so I could just walk around my little village place and listen to this book and still be able to pay attention to it. And the beginning, like I said, was really interesting and kept my attention, and I just feel like there was like a lot going on. And then I just don't know that I feel like the book needed to be 850 pages, but it was a fun time. And then the ending just got kind of crazy. If you have read this book, let me know what you think about it. Like up until 80% of the way through, I was like, this will be a fun series. I will definitely continue it. It's worth it. It's fun, and for how big the books are, they're pretty like easy to get through. So I think this is something I could stick with. And then the last like 20% or so was kind of like a fever dream. Like literally, if you know what I'm talking about, it was just kind of like I didn't know what was happening, and things like, I don't know. I felt like the overall story is very romance based. There is other plot going on, but I guess I was hoping it would be a little more plot based and a little less relationship based. And I felt like the relationship between the two main characters progressed really kind of weirdly. I'm going to add some butterflies from this washi tape roll. And what I mean by progressed weirdly is like in some ways the characters got close really fast. And in other ways I felt like they barely knew each other. But I don't want to spoil too much in case you're one of the few people kind of like me who does not know what happens in the story. I liked going into it not knowing much, and it is fun, so I wouldn't say like don't read it at all. I think in the end I gave it like, it was going to be like 4 stars, and then the end of the book kind of made it more like 3 or 3.5. I think these butterfly stickers go surprisingly well with this, seeing as it's quite like, it's very pretty, but a random, I believe, a calendar that my sister-in-law used as wrapping paper. So I don't know, I feel like for how eclectic and makeshift this is, I feel like it's looking good. I'm happy about that. Let's take one more butterfly and layer it down here, I think. And there we go. I think that looks really fun and very full, and we can add a star sticker for my star rating. I think I will give it 3.5 stars. I don't know. It was enough to make me not know if I want to continue the series, not because it was that bad, but because I was like, I don't know. I felt plot-wise not that much happened for it being 850 pages, and so I was kind of getting concerned that, I guess I saw by the end of this book better what this series is about, and that it really is very like historical fiction romance, which is not necessarily different than what I was expecting. I just think like I said, realized that like I think this series is going to be one of those series that is the same two characters in the main relationship of the story, and it's just going to toss you back and forth between like them being good with each other and then things happening. And then you hoping they find their way back to each other and then things happen. And it's just going to be that over and over and over for the rest of the series. And I could be wrong, but I kind of felt strongly enough that that's probably what's going to happen, that I'm not super interested in continuing it right now. And I have a bunch of other series that I'm reading, so I think I'd rather prioritize those. And then if I'm feeling like picking it up from like the library one day or something, I would do that and listen to it on audio again for the next book, especially if I look up like the ratings for the series overall, and if I find out that like the second book is like one of the best ones or something. I'm definitely interested. Still, I just don't know that I want to immediately continue it like I had first thought when I first picked it up. It was quite fun, kind of in a somewhat little bit similar way to how I felt when I read Fourth Wing. Different books, but they're both just like very fun, fast-paced, like, you know, they bring you into this new world to get engaged in and kind of just throw you in, and in that way, it's a fun time. But yeah, let's write about this book, and then we can do the next spread. And to make this easier, I'm going to write on this page and then this one, instead of across like I do sometimes. I feel like this is one of those books that, depending on what parts come to my mind when I think about it, changes if I like really like it or kind of dislike it, which is kind of funny. Like, there were a lot of things I liked about it. The romance was fun. The time travel element was really cool. I really liked that, of course. And it being set in Scotland is really, I mean, you know, I can't see it, but it even feels beautiful in the descriptions. And I liked them traveling throughout different areas in Scotland. And I liked that it's set in the 1700s. I really like older historical fiction settings like that. Yeah, honestly, I feel like if this book were just to be like 300 pages shorter and have everything condensed more, and then maybe take out some of the things that happened at the end, they just weren't plot twists that I thought added much value that I was looking for. I don't want to spoil anything, like I said, but it is very popular, so if you've read it, definitely let me know, and let me know if you like it. I'm pretty torn. I definitely enjoyed most of it, but let me know if you think I should continue, or if I should just watch the show, and if it's good enough that it's one of those where you don't really need to read the book, if you know what I mean. I usually think that the book is better than movies or shows that come from the books, but let me know what you think if you've read or watched Outlander. And there we go. Here is this book all written about. I actually really like how this turned out. I think it's such a fun idea so far to use the wrapping paper. And now we can try to do the next spread, which was my reread of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or the Sorcerer's Stone, depending on if you're in the UK or America. I printed out this cover specifically because this is the audiobook cover for the full cast edition, and that was like the main thing that was different about this reread or re-listen for me. I have read this book many times, listened to it many times, and I love it. It's one of my favorites, and I loved the whole series when I was younger. So my husband and I like to listen through one or some of the audiobooks pretty much every year around Halloween or Christmas, and we didn't make it to listening to very many this year, but we did listen to the new full cast audio edition of the first book, which was really fun. It is very whimsical, and I love all the background noises, like hearing the sounds on the street, and some characters' voices were kind of like in the background. The main narrator that reads from Harry's perspective is a woman with a really relaxing voice, and then you'll hear the other characters sometimes kind of more in the background calling out things as she is narrating, and it really just gives this really immersive feeling. And it was perfect to listen to while doing puzzles. We even had a Harry Potter puzzle. We didn't end up finishing it actually, but it was really great for December. And I have this wrapping paper next that I thought we could use. It also kind of, I think it's funny that it's a very different art style, but it has birds and mushrooms like the other one that I just used, but this one has like these little elf type, almost gnome looking kids on it. So I thought I could try to use this one since the colors are kind of bluish and gold like the cover of the audiobook. And I think I said this, but that's why I printed off the audiobook specifically, is because if I just printed off the book cover, I felt like I wouldn't remember as clearly that the reread this time around was because of this specific audio edition, if that makes sense. So I printed this off instead of the book cover. Okay, I have a lot more of this wrapping paper than the other one, so I'm gonna go ahead and rip it down. And this is very pattern based, and I will not have that much to write about this book because I have read it so many times, but I do have thoughts specifically about this edition of the audio recording, so I'm almost wondering if we could cover a whole page with this or what I should do. Okay, I'm going to attempt to incorporate this with other things in the spread and just use it like my ripped paper that I normally kind of do along the edges like this. And then I have these stickers that are actually just from a pack from Michael's that are very Christmassy and kind of go. So I thought I could maybe go all out for like a Christmas kind of look. I don't know if this tree goes, but and just really embrace this wrapping paper look. I think this is fun. Kind of like that up there. I don't know if I'll like it with the book cover and everything. And then I was thinking of doing this washi tape that's like a greenish gold plaid or checker for up here as the top border. Let's see how it looks. I like the reindeer for some reason. I feel like they fit. The tree, I'm not sure about, but I do have it in red as well. So like, this is kind of more brown than purple, but it's kind of like two red things, two darker things. Maybe this gift kind of works. And then maybe for the audio book cover, I will make like a little border for it over here, just so it kind of has a spot that it can rest in and not get lost. And this is like a sticker washi tape, so it's nice because it will just stick. Let's try and see how these look. These are very thick stickers. I also have this, which is like the present, this shape, leaf. This is definitely like a very unique spread that I have never done anything quite like before. I'm going to write full cast audiobook on here. And this is one of my favorite books, and it was like a reread, so I'm just going to give it 5 stars. We could put some more stickers, but I think it looks good like this. It's very full, but I like it. I'm going to place some of these stars around from this Happy Planner sticker sheet set that I use a lot. It has a lot of different like moon and star things that I add to different spreads. So I'm just going to add some of these star stickers around to add like another element that makes it look kind of intentionally layered and combined with the different art styles. There we go. And I think that's as full as I can get this without it getting too crazy. This is very full because of the patterned wrapping paper. So now we can write about this book. Of course, this is a very popular book, so I'm assuming most of you know what it's about for the most part. But again, I really liked the full cast audio. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is a middle grade book that follows a young boy who is an orphan adopted by his aunt and uncle who are not so kind to him, and one day he finds out that he has been accepted to a school of witchcraft and wizardry, and he didn't even know wizards and witches were a thing before he gets the letter that invites him to the school. So it follows him through his first year at the school, and it has lots of magical, whimsical, and fun things in it. It reminds me of childhood, and it is part of what started my love for books and reading is this series. So the full cast audiobook is the same story, of course, but taken to peak magic and whimsy because of all of the added sound effects. Like you can hear the train in the background when he boards the train to the school, and each character has their own voice actor, so it is, like I said, very immersive, and I'm really excited to continue the audiobooks in the full cast version. And there we go. There is this book all written about, and now we can do the final book. And my third and last book I read in December is Alchemized by Sen-Lin Yu. And my understanding is that Sen-Lin Yu published this story, or at least a very similar one, online as a fan fiction called Manacled that is kind of loosely based off of Harry Potter characters, Draco and Hermione. But then she traditionally published it as Alchemized and changed a lot of the story and made her own world, made her own magic system, and obviously changed the names of anything having to do with Harry Potter. So I have not read Manacled, so I don't know how similar Alchemized is to that. But I had heard a lot of things for a long time about the fan fiction and had considered reading it. But then when I knew this book was about to come out, I just went ahead and pre-ordered this because it's like 1,000 pages, really big hardcover book, and it was on sale on Amazon for pre-order for like $17 or something, which is really good price for a book that big, especially when it's going to be brand new. So I went ahead and pre-ordered it, and I didn't know when I would get around to reading it, but I'm happy that I read it in December because it's set in a very like dark and bleak kind of world. I felt like it felt like winter to me, and winter is definitely depicted in the book somewhat, but it felt like a really good mood for winter. And because I haven't read Manacled, I'm not going to compare the characters to the ones I'm assuming they're based off of from Harry Potter too much, since the names have been changed in this book. I'm just going to speak about Alchemized and not compare it to Manacled since I haven't read that. But for this spread, I have these two wrapping papers. This one, which is a really nice quality wrapping paper, it's Minted brand, if you know this company. They make greeting cards and art and other things as well. And then I have this tissue paper that will probably come across pretty wrinkly, but the book cover is really dark with the one red figure at the bottom. So I thought this would be cool if I could get this to work. And then this one is quite thick and nice, so I don't know if I want to use it in here, just because I think I could actually repurpose it for a gift maybe. And I don't know if I should go with this pattern that is really pretty, but it's not nearly as dark as the book was. So I'm thinking maybe I could work with this tissue paper and combine it with this dark washi tape or something. But I'm not sure if I would just use it like this or if I would cut the plants out. Let's figure something out. This book is considered fantasy or dark fantasy, and it does have romance in it as well. And it was very long, like I said, but I really enjoyed it. It was definitely one of my favorite books of 2025, and it was the last one I read of 2025. So I felt like that was like a nice way to end my reading year. And it was really well written and kept my attention the whole time. It didn't really slow down too much at any one point. I like this, but I'm not sure if I want to do another big patterned spread or if I want to do like this has lace. I'm going to try, since I have a decent amount of this tissue paper, I'm going to try to cut out some of the plants and see how they look when I do that. Okay, I like that, and I think I'm going to place some of this brown paper that's like a tape that you peel off, sticky on one side. I think I'm going to put this at the bottom and maybe rip it a little so it's not so kind of perfect. I think I'll put that over there, but I think I'll put the red things down first and maybe put this on top. I'm going to use a tape from this set I have from Notebook Therapy called Midsummer's Night's Dream, because it has this one that has, it's pretty much black with red flowers and moon phases, and I really like to use it anytime I do like a red and black theme. I think I want to cut out just part of this poinsettia to put on this side over here. There we go. And now I'm going to tape down the cover. And I'll add a star sticker. Okay, I think this looks really good. It's kind of simple, but at the same time pretty full. So I'm going to color in the star rating, and then we can write about it. And I did give it 5 stars. There we go. Now let's write about it. So this book follows Helena Marino, who awakes from some kind of sleep state without her memories. She awakes into the aftermath of a long war where she was fighting on the side of alchemists who were fighting against necromancers, who are essentially like the evil magic people because they use their powers to control bodies and often reanimate the dead. She was working with the resistance as a healer, but she awakes as a captive of the necromancers, and she doesn't have her memories, and her captives are telling her that the good people, her side, has lost the war, and all of her resistance friends are dead, that she's the last one, and they are about to kill her as well. But they have reason to believe that because her memories are gone, she knows something important, and they keep her as a prisoner and have the High Reeve, who is the character inspired by Draco Malfoy, try to tap into her memories through his powers of mind reading, which I believe they call vivimancy, and that's how the story starts. And you follow Helena as she tries to remember why she's there, why her memories are erased, who erased them, and a lot happens obviously because it's, like I said, over 1,000 pages. I really enjoyed it. There were a lot of twists and turns, but at the same time, the plot grows steadily. There is, I believe, 3 parts to the story, and with each part, you're in a different timeline of the story. So it kind of jumps time a little bit, but I really liked that. You start where she wakes up and the war is over and they've lost, but then the second part of the book shows you how she got there, and I thought the whole thing was really well written. I really loved the story. I loved how Senlin Yu changed the magic system and made it more like alchemy than other depictions of magic. Like if you think of the traditional like Harry Potter type of magic, she changes the magic system is alchemical, and it has a lot to do with metals and kind of the concept of you can't make something out of nothing, but you can transmute different metals and alloys into different things. I thought it was such a layered story, and it is a dark fantasy, so it has very like brutal and raw depictions of war and all that kind of goes along with that. But I wouldn't say that, at least in my memory of the book right now, talking about it, I don't remember anything that was like overly explicit or that seemed pointless, if that makes sense. It was all very like serious and not cheesy, and not, it didn't just seem like any of it was there for like an attention grab. It seemed very purposeful, and I really liked it. It was such a journey. It was the longest book I read last year, and of course I for some reason saved it for last, but I really am glad that I read it. I had the physical book, and I also got it on audio since it was so long of a book. I kind of immersion read it. I would either just listen to it or immersion read, which is where you take out your physical book and listen to it at the same time and follow along, which really can help with fantasy books because of all of the new names and words and world building. It helps to see how words are spelled so you can kind of recognize them, if that makes sense, especially when it comes to like different characters' names. But yeah, I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was really impactful, and I would definitely recommend it if you are interested at all in darker fantasy. I don't read dark fantasy regularly by any means, and I did not think it was too dark for me. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was worth it, and it had a good balance of realistic war and loss and grief, but also some uplifting messages and things like that. It was the kind of book that the way it was told, by the end of it, I wanted to immediately reread it so I could kind of read the beginning part with new information and see if it changed how I felt about it with this new information that I got once the book was finished. Yeah, I know it's a good book when it's that long, and after it's over, I want to reread it. And although this book, one of the categories on Goodreads at least, or one of the genres is romantasy, I would say that this book was really well balanced in romance and plot, and it was not just all romance, which I personally prefer. It had a really great plot, and yeah, I think it was the perfect book to end off with, kind of saving the best for last, and I'm really excited to see what books I'll read in the coming year. And there we go. There is this book all written about. I'm really happy with how my wrapping paper inspired spreads turned out. I think that was something definitely very different for me to try, and I liked it, so I think I might try to do this every December for my reading journal. It's a fun way to end out the reading journal, and we'll see if I get any fun or interesting wrapping papers next year, but I feel like this will encourage me to be keeping an eye out for them. Okay, so now we can flip through them. Here is the cover spread. Then we have Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. Then we have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. And then we have Alchemized by Sen Lin Yu. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't believe that this journal is all filled up. I still have some pages left back here, and I still need to fill out my yearly spreads at the beginning of the journal, but I think it was a great use of a journal, and it can't really hold much more in there anyway. But soon I will film a flip through of this journal and show you all of the spreads and briefly talk about a few of my favorites. So keep an eye out for that video, and thank you guys so much for being here. If you would give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, that would really help me out. And thank you again for supporting me, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!